Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, this is David Benjamin from healthywildandfree.com. Today I want to talk about the topic, how to improve oxygen levels and oxygen quality in your blood, in your brain, and in your body as a whole. So in the last video I talked about how to improve the quality of air and oxygen in your home so that the quality itself is increased. So it's just going to help your body in and of itself. But now I want to talk about optimizing performance through a nutritional lens within your body, within your cells, and within your blood, and within your brain too, because your brain and your body benefits tremendously from oxygen, and to have a pure, high-quality source of oxygen in your environment, and then to optimize your inner performance really goes a long way. So first things first, the most important thing to understand with oxygen and the oxygen intake in your body is that you can do a lot of different exercises. So yoga and breathwork and different meditations and things have different practices for that, and I'll speak about that in a future video and kind of what you can do physically, like spending your time and energy to improve oxygen uptake. But today I want to focus more on the nutritional aspect, because I think that if we align ourselves with healthy foods and the nutrition that supports our body, we can improve our body's assimilation, absorption, and utilization of oxygen, so that we have more oxygen in our body readily available for our brain, for our muscles, for our nervous system, for our heart, for our digestive system, for our entire body. And that's extremely important because we live in a sort of oxygen deficient and hydration deficient world. We live in a world where we're kind of being choked out of our essence, which of our breathing essence, if you will. And that's just because of the pollution in the air and the indoors domesticated lifestyle that we live. So we really need to sort of rewild ourselves and bring back that sense of and that ability to have that pure oxygen. So first things first, to understand the big picture, we need to understand the small picture. And the small picture is that our red blood cells are mainly responsible for transporting oxygen throughout the body. So our red blood cells, we have different types of blood cells. We have white blood cells, red blood cells. White blood cells are more associated with the immune system and immune response within the body. The red blood cells are responsible for other things such as carrying oxygen throughout the body and delivering nutrients and things like that. So there's a protein molecule found within red blood cells that's known as hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is a protein molecule that is actually responsible for transporting oxygen throughout the entire body. So red blood cells are floating through our entire circulation in our body at any given time, and that's what carries it throughout the entire body within our blood, but also to bring it into the tissues of our body. So the blood is traveling, it's carrying the hemoglobin, which is carrying the oxygen, and that's traveling to the tissues of our body. And hemoglobin, which is a protein molecule, is made up of, and it's very rich in iron, the mineral iron. It's actually about 70% of our body's iron is used by hemoglobin alone. So if you ever hear of someone who's anemic, they typically have an iron deficiency, or if you have an iron deficiency but you're not anemic, right there, right off the bat, your hemoglobin and your oxygen delivery system within your body is suffering. So your oxygen cannot be carried within the red blood cell throughout your blood, throughout your circulation, and into the tissues of your body. So what you want to do is make sure that your iron levels are sufficient. There are lots of foods that are, carriers of iron. I believe pumpkin seeds and a bunch of leafy greens. Actually, a lot of different meats. I'm not a huge meat eater, but I will eat grass-fed organic meat. Those are great sources of iron as well. And just making sure your iron levels are high is one of the first and most important nutrients for ensuring that your hemoglobin levels are healthy, your red blood cells are healthy, so that they can carry oxygen and carry that load for you within your body and get oxygen throughout your entire system. So iron is the first thing. Vitamin C is also extremely valuable. Vitamin C actually enhances the absorption of iron within the body. So if you have enough iron but you're deficient in vitamin C, you're still at fault, because vitamin C is what actually it's a catalyst for iron to be absorbed within the body. So you want to make sure your vitamin C levels are high. We all have a very good understanding, or most of us do at least, of which foods vitamin C are rich in. Bell peppers are rich in vitamin C, papaya, lemons, limes, oranges, all the citrus fruits, are all rich in vitamin C as well. Broccoli is rich in vitamin C. So there's a good list of vegetables and fruits that are rich in vitamin C, and you probably eat quite a few of them often, or at least have access to them fairly easily. So make sure to get plenty of vitamin C in your diet. Beyond iron and vitamin C, your body also benefits from fulvic acid, vitamin E, and nettle tea. So folic acid is a B complex vitamin that is beneficial for hemoglobin in the red blood cells as well. Nettle tea is actually rich in multiple nutrients that are beneficial for hemoglobin and the red blood cells to benefit the oxygen uptake within your body. So what you want to do is just make sure that you get as much vitamin C, iron, folic acid, and add some nettle tea in your diet as well, or in your kind of daily or weekly routine. And what these things are going to do together is going to help your red blood cell health and the health of hemoglobin in particular to help bind to and carry that oxygen throughout your body. So another really important tip is hydration. So we really don't think about this because it's kind of counterintuitive, but water, hydration, is extremely important for oxygenating your body, oxygenating your cells, benefiting red blood cell health, and really just getting oxygen throughout your body. So the molecular structure of water is H2O. So if you think about it, you probably know this, but if you don't, I'm going to share this with you. H2O is 1 part hydrogen and 2 parts oxygen. So the H is just 1 part hydrogen because there's no number before it, and then 2O means 2 parts oxygen. So the molecular composition of water is mainly oxygen. So when you're drinking water, to some degree, you're just drinking oxygen for your body. And a large portion or a large volume of our body is made up of water, and a large volume of that water is made up of oxygen. So we're really just drinking water, and we're really just sort of drinking oxygen to some degree. So anywhere from like 55 to 70% of our bodies are water at any given time, but our cells actually have a higher amount of hydration or water that the composition is made of. It's about 70 to 90%. Our cells are made up of that much water. So our cells actually need more water and more oxygen, more hydration and more oxygenation in order to function properly and optimally at their highest capacity in order to carry blood throughout the system. So it's really important to get all these nutrients in your diet: folic acid, iron, vitamin E, vitamin C, nettle tea, but it's also very important to get plenty of water in your diet and to understand that you're drinking oxygen, essentially, as crazy as that sounds. So keeping your body hydrated is really important. The electrolytes come in really handy here as well, and they're really important. So potassium, nettle tea has some potassium in it, sodium, magnesium. Having these electrolytes in your body, but also in balance is really crucial too, because if you don't have that electrolyte balance, what's going to happen is you're going to drink water and you're going to just pee it right out. And it's really important to have an electrolyte balance within the cells so that when you drink water, the body hydrates. So water, H2O, hydrogen, and oxygen work hand in hand with electrolytes. And if you have that harmonious synergy between the two, you have the electrolytes in your body, you have the hydration, your body's going to be hydrated where and when it needs it. But if you're deficient in those electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, sodium, or there's an imbalance, so a lot of people will have too much sodium and too little potassium and magnesium, that's very common, probably 80% of the population or more, your body is going to hold water, so it's going to have water retention, but it's not going to have the potassium and magnesium to help that electrolyte harmony, which helps get that hydration into the cell, into the bloodstream, into the body, and to penetrate the tissue. So it's really, really important to also have an electrolyte balance and a hydration balance at the same time. So I personally have both a magnesium and potassium supplement, and I make sure to eat foods that are rich in magnesium and potassium as well, so that my body is sufficient in those things, and so that sodium isn't dominant, like it is for most people, because we all, or most of us to some degree, have foods that are salty or contain a lot of sodium, or we just simply don't get enough potassium and magnesium in our diets. Therefore, sodium is higher and those are lower, which is an imbalance which doesn't allow our cells in our body to hydrate properly. So With that being said, just a quick recap. Folic acid, vitamin B, vitamin E, vitamin C, and nettle tea, and the hydration and all those electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, are going to be valuable, crucial, and beneficial. So leafy greens are really valuable. I already listed some vitamin C foods. And there's just a list of other foods that are rich in all these nutrients that I talked about in this video. And there's too many to list off, and I wouldn't remember all of them anyway. So the article right below this video is going to link not only those nutrients that I talked about in further depth and detail, but also list out specific foods that you can get in your diet on a day-to-day basis that's going to benefit your oxygen uptake. And by benefiting your oxygen uptake, you're also enhancing and optimizing your VO2 max. VO2 max is the oxygen capacity that your lungs can hold at any given time. So VO2 max is measured by how much how much oxygen your body can hold as compared to your weight. So a smaller person is going to have a smaller VO2 max, a bigger person is going to have a bigger VO2 max. But if you're healthier and you're integrating these nutritional principles and electrolytes and nutrition and hydration, all these different things, your VO2 max will be higher per your body weight, which is essentially just makes you a higher performance athlete. So professional athletes utilize increasing their VO2 max with hydration and all these different nutritional principles to have more oxygen, to give their muscles a more readily available supply of oxygen, their brain a better supply of oxygen, their nervous system a better supply of oxygen, and this just enhances performance overall. So if you're an athlete, this is beneficial for you. If you work in any space or field that has to do with brain function or in a fast-paced, kind of stressful environment, your brain needs more oxygen, this is going to be valuable for you also because your brain is going to have more oxygen. So it's going to benefit your brain, your blood, and your performance overall as a whole physically and giving your body more energy. So there's a lot of benefits to it, and I'll get into those benefits in a future video on this channel here on the Healthy, Well, and Freeze channel. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, comment, share, leave your comments below. Hit the subscribe button for future videos. Check out the articles below. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and subscribe on Facebook. And make sure to follow this series because I'm creating a different sort of a series of videos that talk about and focus on this specific topic for health and well-being. So the next video, or the next two videos actually, will talk about this in more depth and detail. Thanks a lot for your time. My name is David Benjamin from healthywellandfree.com. Like, favorite, comments there. I'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome, amazing rest of the day. Get your oxygen levels up. Take it easy. Bye.